Howdy seniors, this is EDAY number 10 for Algebra 2. We are still using our quadratic formula. So we're just going to put it right up the top. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So you guys should be experts at this by now. What's really nice about this worksheet is that everything is set up in the correct format, except for number 1. We have to move the 16, but everything else is already done for us. So we'll start with number 1, and we'll just do the odd ones together. So we're going to add 16 to both sides. So you're going to get x squared minus 8x plus 16 equals 0. And now you can plug in. And remember, as always, A, B, and C. So negative 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2 times A. I'm going to apologize because I wrote too big. I'm still learning how to use this technology, but let's go ahead and clean this up. Negative 8 is positive 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus, and you're going to take 4 times 16, which is going to give you, if memory serves me, 64. So we're going to take 64 minus 64 all over 2. So you have 8 plus or minus the square root of 0 all over 2, which is just 8 over 2. This one actually factors really nicely, and your answer is 4. And again, we're going to do the odds. So we're going to work through 1, 3, and 5. And then if you have questions on 2, 4, and 6, you know where to find me. So number 3, we have 1, that's our A. We have 8, that's our B. And 13 is our C. So we're going to come in here and we're going to take negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. All right, so this is going to look a lot like the last one. You're going to take negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 64 minus 4 times 13, which is 52. And that's going to be all over 2. I apologize. Again, I'm writing a little too big. So 64 minus 52 is 12. So you're going to get negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 12 all over 2. Square root of 12 needs to be simplified. So we're going to come over here and clean that up. Square root of 12 is the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. Square root of 4 is 2, so 2 radical 3. So when you clean this up, you now have negative 8 plus or minus 2 radical 3 over 2. If my highlighter works, we have an even number, an even number, and an even number, so we're going to divide everybody by 2. So your final, not in highlighter. Hold that, sorry, my bad. All right, come back here. So your final answer is going to be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 3, because those two reduce to 4. Those two cancel each other out, so that is your final answer. All right, let's look at number 5. Any particular color requests? Just kidding, because I can't hear you. Okay, so we have A, we have B, and we have C. Those look like some ugly numbers when you put them together. So we have negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 17 all over 2 times 1. So negative 2, positive 2, plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 17 times 4 gives you 68, but it's minus a negative 68 all over 2. Double negative, that's a super plus. So we have 2 plus or minus the square root of 72 all over 2. 72 has a perfect square in it. It's got a couple of perfect squares in it, actually. 72 has the largest perfect square, which breaks into that, is 36 times 2, which simplifies to 6 radical 2. So when you clean that up, again, I'm actually going to change it out of blue so you don't mix it up with the one below it here. You get 2 plus or minus 6 radical 2, because those guys are the same, all over 2. And then again, we have our happy little even numbers. So we're going to come in here and we're going to clean them up. 2 divided by 2 is 1 plus or minus 3 radical 2. That's your final answer. So that should hopefully give you the steps that you need in order to work out 2, 4, and 6 on your own. If you have any questions on those, you always know where to get me. I am happy to provide more assistance. See you soon. Bye.